Welcome to the Gollancz Festival, Ask Gollancz. We are joined today with Ben Aaronovitch and Team Gollancz, Sophie Calder, Marcus Gibbs, and Simon Spanton. We will be collecting your questions on Twitter as we go along, and Ben already has some of your questions that you've submitted. So do keep submitting questions, and I now turn you over to Ben Aaronovitch.
Hello, I'm going to read these unmediated because I don't understand some of them. And also I take no responsibility for these questions. It's all totally undiluted Twitter. Dear Gollancz lovelies, which of your authors gives the best hugs? From an Ed Cox. There you go, Ed. Very good question.
Definitely not Ed. Ed's hugs are rubbish. I've never enjoyed them. In fact, he never gives them to me. I sit there and I go, Ed, your book's great. Can I have a hug? And he goes, nope, not doing it. That's not entirely true, really. Ed is the huggiest man alive, and they are very, very nice. Do you want to stack up for any of your authors, Simon?
Well, I feel in the interest of fairness I should, but really in the interest of reality I can't. Ed has completely set this question up. He gives the best hugs. He gives the most hugs. We cannot say anything else. So it is Ed, really. He is the huggiest man alive.
So the answer is to all the other Gollancz authors who aren't Ed Cox, you need to up the game a little bit.
There you go, Ed Cox, the master of the inappropriate physical contact.
I'd like to add as well, generally all our debut authors this year are very good huggers. And I don't know whether that's just because I feel a bit more motherly towards them. So maybe it's actually me leading the hugs and they're just responding. But yeah, all the debuts are very huggable this year.
Okay, good. Well, I think we've exhausted the potential for that one. What do you look for in a good fantasy book? Does it have to be earth-shatteringly?
No, we are very
Yes, no, mediocrity.
mediocrity.
Never happier than with mediocrity.
Yes.
Sometimes we get books in and we go, actually, it's too good. We should get someone else.
What I look for in a good fantasy book is what I look for in a good novel, first stop, i.e. characters who I can empathise with, not necessarily sympathise with, but empathise with, an engaging story that keeps me turning the pages, and a world that tells me something about, I don't know, me and the world that I live in, and strangeness and a sense of wonder, and something that will take me away from where I am or make me think about where I am. So fantasy doesn't get a get out of jail free card just because it's fantasy and can throw in a unicorn into the mix. It has to do all the things that good books do. Unicorns are good. Yes, I look for the things that you look for in a good novel, full stop. Does it have to be earth-shatteringly good? It certainly helps.
I don't have much to add. I mean, yes, we see books where the world building is remarkable and they've built this amazing secondary fantasy world, but there's no story. And you sit there going, when's something going to happen? I get that you've worked out all the details of this lovely imagined place, but I don't care if there's no story and there's no characters to follow. And that happens more than you'd like. That stuff should be, there in the background if you need it. But it's got to be a book that you pick it up from an agent on submission and you start reading, and the next morning you come and you go to your colleagues, I've got something.
I think for me as well, I like it when these guys commission something with a good media angle. So for instance, if there's something going on in the world that can be tied into something happening in the news, for instance, with Luna, a lot of that was about Margaret Thatcher and their sort of ideas that there isn't a society, there's only individuals, and that sort of tied in a lot with Corbyn, and there were some good angles there to be had with pushing the socialist angle in Luna.
That's the important thing.
I mean, I think the other thing is that fantasy becomes synonymous with kind of epic fantasy and all the books that labour in the shadow of Tolkien. And I think that there's some very, very good fantasy to be read which sits very, very far away from that, both in terms of setting and style. It's really obscure Eastern European fantasy by people like Bruno could be less like Tolkien, but which are extraordinary fantasies. That's much less commercial, obviously, but fantasy can sometimes be something that you really don't expect.
Sounds good. I like that. Got your plugs in. That's very useful. Right. I'm gonna. It says vampire or werewolves. Well, I think that means vampires or werewolves. Question.
In what context?
I assume.
Is it what we would want to be, or which we prefer reading about, or
Dinner party.
we
Look, it says
interpret it as
vampire.
we desire?
Vampire or werewolves? Werewolves.
Okay.
Yeah, I think werewolves. I mean, I like the idea of vampires and werewolves being predators, and too often now vampires have become dashing and sparkly, and that's not very scary. And werewolves tend to be a little bit more unmediated in their savagery, and that's what you want in a monster with sharp teeth.
I would also say werewolves. We're all werewolves. I think werewolves have a better existence, really. Just running around the forests and.
And you only have
Sounds
to do it
quite
3
nice.
days a month.
Well, exactly.
Yeah,
And the rest of the
well,
time we're normal.
yeah.
So.
I have no opinion. I prefer panthers. If you had to defend yourself using something in the office, what would it be?
I think in publicity, we're always making lots of show cards and things for events. So quite often we have use of a guillotine. So I think I'd probably have to smash the guillotine up and use the blade from that.
You've actually thought about this. Why didn't you thought about this?
I may have had a little sneaky look at that.
Okay, that makes me feel slightly better. I think I would just throw heavy 1,000-page fantasy hardbacks at people. We've got a lot of those in this office.
Yes. Peter Hamilton will do someone in no problem.
I think I'd take advantage of my long gimpy shanks and simply run away.
Very good.
I wouldn't want to be defending myself with anything to hand at my desk. I mean, I've got some Star Wars action figures, but unless whatever ravening beast was attacking me choked on one, I don't think they'd be much good.
Can I just say from a public safety perspective that the best way to defend yourself in an office environment, if someone attacks you, is to pick up your chair and poke them with the other end of it.
Armchairs are
Yes.
really spinny and heavy. I think.
Yeah, but that's the whole point. A nice proper office chair shoved in someone's face
Okay.
means you're out of knife range and it's not pleasant.
Everyone's thought about this question.
Yeah.
Well, I thought about this because of an episode of Luther where this guy goes into an office and sprays people with acid and stabs people.
Oh yes,
And he really wouldn't have lasted more than 2 seconds in the average office because someone would just hit him with a chair. So,
lateral paper cuts.
yes, so there you go. But there you go. That's the point.
Entertaining and informative.
Yes, there you go. Very important. Remember, your chair is your friend. Okay. Of the Gollancz team, who is most likely to survive the apocalypse? I'm sorry, this is a bit of a non-starter question, really.
We all know the answer to this.
Yes, we
There's
do.
only one answer.
It's
No.
It's obviously Julian.
Gillian Redfern would
She
take
has
her back.
archery.
I'm right here. I'm an American. I clearly have a survival plan.
No, Julie would eat you. Yes, that's true.
She's also very quick thinking and resourceful, which are definitely skills you need.
That's true and very polite.
Yes.
Um,
when I was looking for
Also, it's the bow. It's the bow.
Yeah, Gillian Redfern is our publishing director.
I certainly
and
would want-
indeed boss. And we're not just saying this because she's our boss. We are saying this because she can drill a 5 centimeter bullseye target with 5 arrows from about 80 meters with a compound bow, and it's frightening. So yeah, I'm standing behind Gillian with the apocalypse.
Yeah, I was about to say that I definitely plan to stand behind Gillian. That's the case.
Okay, to be fair, if you take Jillian out of the equation, go.
Not Jen.
It was kind of nice. You wouldn't ask for a second.
No. Yeah, no, the apocalypse would be horrible.
Yeah,
I don't
like it.
Although,
I don't
Now,
know any of
no.
the rest of us will be that great.
if it's zombies, we can use the office chairs.
That's true.
There you go. You see, office chairs. Would be good.
Now we have an action plan, we might stand more chance.
Okay, do. That's the serious question.
Who's the slowest runner on the Gollancz team?
It's you with your sore foot, isn't it?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. There you
So
go.
you just have to be able to run fast.
Well, no. Simon would be good because he throws himself in front of things, so we could like motorbikes, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not that fast, but I could run quite a long way. So hopefully the zombies just don't have much longevity.
Yeah,
in
I mean,
terms of that.
Given the whole, smoking thing, I'm not that good at running for long periods of more than
I actually plan just to stand there and point them in your direction.
So are you going to go to the Winchester and eat peanuts and drink beer until this all blows over?
That sounds great. Do you mean the apocalypse or Gollancz Fest?
In the events of the zombie apocalypse, I would like to point out that quite a lot of CTC is run by Doctor Who fans. So that's the Counter-Terrorism Command, that's the Metropolitan Police's armed wing.
Should that reassure us or
Well, it means we are probably the only nation, the only capital in the world that probably does have a zombie apocalypse plan, and with the Metropolitan Police. So I always feel reassured by that.
Have they planned for Daleks?
Possibly, I suspect they plan for everything.
I was walking past the eye this morning, and they were like broadcasting some like weird bird noise coming out of the eye. And I was walking across the bridge, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's like something from Doctor Who." So there's like giant birds are about to land.
Did they?
It's really weird. No, they didn't. But why would they have been playing bird noises really loud out of the eye this morning?
Okay, I've got an actual question that pertains to your job. So we're going to go with this
Okay.
one. Do you ever get the chance to read outside your genre? And if you were forced to work in any other genre, what would it be? Now, I would just like to point out that there are no other genres. It's all science fiction, from top to bottom. It's just an illusion you have that some science fiction is set in a strange parallel world that resembles this one.
Or hamsters?
Or hamsters.
Or it's non-fiction.
Or is non-fiction.
My other genres are, I read a lot of YA. A lot of it is fantastical, so it's kind of a cheat of an answer. But I do read some contemporary YA as well, where things, don't happen that are supernatural. But also cookery books. I love a beautiful illustrated cookery book. Just
You don't look like you love cookery works.
I do. And W and N and Ryan published some great ones, so I'm very lucky to be able to get a hold of those. But yeah, cookery books would be a fun genre to work in as well, because it's obviously a very different style of publicity to what I
And
do.
samples, obviously.
Obviously, yeah, and you get to go to like shoots where they're doing the food and
Check out the restaurants, see which do a book by that chef or that.
exactly. Yeah, and you can plan all the launches in nice restaurants, and then you have to go and try the food just to check it's okay for the launch before you go.
We should actually ask the cookery people if they get bribes. That would be really interesting.
Yeah.
Do people come in with like trays of food saying, I want to do a cookery book, try this?
Well, there's sometimes the cookery teams sometimes bribe the rest of the company
Yeah.
by getting the chefs in to cook something.
Oh.
And it's a good way of bribing journalists as well. Imagine if you're trying to pitch your book, you could be like, and here's an amazing cake, cover my book.
So what we're saying is cookery themed fantasy and science fiction from here on in.
I'm perfectly down with that, cookery themed.
Without intending to, we can plug Game Scones.
Good.
Please do. Always be marketing.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Well, I always wanted to do a Molly cookbook.
that'd be amazing.
Except I can't cook, so I gotta find someone to ghost it. So.
Would the recipes actually be edible though?
No, they would be, but you'd have like a kind of all these old-fashioned British cooking. It would basically be an old-fashioned British cookbook with some intestines thrown in, lots of offal.
Yeah.
Scott Lynch has fantastic recipes in the Liza Rockmore books,
Yeah.
but I have no way of knowing whether they taste remotely.
My son,
they sound amazing.
my son's earliest cooking experiments revolved around the Game of Thrones cookbook.
Mm.
So, he was constantly saying he didn't want to cook anything that I wanted to eat. He wanted to cook kind of strange Westeros dishes. And I was just getting strange ingredients.
So we say you all want to work in cookery.
Yeah, pretty much. What other genres for you guys then?
What other genres are there? Oh, God. If I'm reading outside the genre, I tend to read non-fiction and generally kind of natural history, really, books about landscape, and psychogeography, which is a really dull way of saying books about someone walking around looking at things. I read those, and if I couldn't work in genre, God forbid, I'd quite like to dibble about in that.
I think I'd quite fancy if I comics would be interesting. Very different role as an editor, but I think it'd be interesting.
Fewer words.
Yeah.
It's much more fun. I like comics. Much easier to write for a start.
Fewer words.
Yes, exactly. Well, fewer words, and the artist does all the heavy lifting, which is the best thing. I just like to say that I would like to write pretentious books, but I can't bring myself to do it. And go to the Edinburgh Festival on a much more regular basis.
Do you think it's possible you write a pretentious book without knowing it?
I think it's entirely possible I write pretentious books already, so, but everyone disguised under a heavy layer of genre, so they don't tell. We've run out of questions, so has someone tweeted anything in, or am I going to have to make something up?
I think you might have to make something up, Ben. Ben, ask whatever burning question you have for the team, Gollancz. One time only.
Okay, no.
Make it a good one, because there's only one.
They're all inappropriate.
They're all inappropriate. That sounds about right.
All inappropriate. Yes. Do you? I mean, at home, my big problem in life is bookshelf. With not enough bookshelves.
Mhm.
So I want to know that are you like that yourselves? Do you all go home and go, oh dear, I've got a pile of books, and every single part of my wall is covered in bookshelves now?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, there's that thing where you move to a bigger place to live, and you can suddenly get some bookshelves in. You have this dizzy time where there are more shelves than there are books.
Yes.
I can get books, and that lasts about 2 months, I find. And then after that 2 months, you are again dealing with piles of books by the bookshelves, or on the bedside table, or under the television, or just everywhere. So there is never enough room for books. I've been in households where there've been terrifying rules like one in, one out.
Yeah.
Which is
How do you do that?
well, quite.
Well, actually, no, because I think it's quite easy because I get sent about a book a month now.
Mm.
You guys must get sent like 5 or 6 books a week.
Well, if the book goes home,
Yeah.
then it's because I want to.
Yeah, but so I get to this home, so I have these as a kind of slush pile for getting rid of if I suddenly institute it. Someone sent me 5 copies of the what's it, Crown of the Tearlings or something.
Oh yeah, they say.
I don't know why I got 5 copies. I think 5 different.
I think you
people
could probably get rid of 4 of those. with
Well,
clear
I
conscience.
would, but there's one of them's probably not my desk. So
I had I can't remember his Twitter name, Gavin Pugh.
Oh yeah, that's Gav Reed's.
Gav Reeds.
Yeah.
I was talking about this with Gav, and he came up with the single best method for winnowing your book collection, which is I've had to do many times now over the years. But his method was to look at each book and say, well, if I was in a bookshop and I saw this book, would I buy it now? And it's a really, really harsh test, but it's a really, really good one. And I've been able to shift many books from my shelves on the basis of that. And it's the books that I haven't read yet that are the ones that I get rid of. The ones that I've read, you've got history with, and they're part of you, they're part of your biography.
Yeah.
And those tend to stay on the shelves. But the ones that I haven't read, I kind of,
I had a couple of involuntary winnowings when I moved house and stuff, and get rid of a whole pile of books I didn't want to get rid of.
Mm.
And I had to literally go on eBay and replace them. And it was all my kind of like Panther science fiction from the.
Yeah.
But those are like nice mass market paperback sized, which is a civilized book size. When you can get like 500 on the length of one shelf,
Yes.
and you like
Or 4 Robert Jordan.
yes, or 4.
And I've come to the conclusion every time I get rid of something, because I go, I'll never ever use, need, wear, watch that again. Without fail, within 6 months, I'll be going, now where did I put that? I'm sure I've got one somewhere. And it'll suddenly dawn me that I got rid of it. And I'll sit there going, well, I'm not going to get rid of anything ever again.
Yeah.
I find that with a lot of my non-fiction, my reference books and stuff. I get rid of one or lend them to someone that, like the next day, I'll be sitting there going, oh, 14th century artistic.
I saw a really chilling thing somewhere, which was that and I haven't checked the maths, and you're all very welcome to do it and come back and tell me it's rubbish, but that if you read a book a week between the ages of 8 and 18, you would only read 3,900 books in your life.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, but there's that period between
That's
about
how many
9
you've got.
9 and 15 when you read 1 book a day. Sometimes 2 books a day. Yeah, you guys do
As
that.
long as it involves not doing schoolwork.
Well, as long as it
Yes.
involved kind of Andrew Norton, like my
Yes.
boys, I think I was reading a Andrew Norton book in a day for as long as they lasted.
It also means that if you were in Germany, you could probably spend your whole life only reading Perry Rodan books.
That's a terrifying thought. But then you see that leads to the fact that you can now listen to the books. You see, I find that sometimes if the book, I get very cross when books aren't available on Audible now. So because I think.
Well, I think that's why audio is working really well at the moment. Sort of, we're not necessarily money poor when it comes to buying books. We're time poor.
Yeah.
And an audiobook allows you to,
But also,
read a book while you're doing washing up or
like walking. Well, it's very hard on Radio 4 because like on Comes the Archers, like that, you put your Audible book on.
No, I'd say that loud the Archers before their audiobooks.
Well, yes. Well, I always like that thing when it was like Dead Ringers did that thing. You turn on the Archers and welcome to the Archers. You're washing up and you can't reach the off button.
Whereas now it's his Dead Ringers. You're washing up and you can't reach for the off button.
Right, we've got a question here.
Hey, somebody's out there.
So at Morid on Twitter says, is the book industry coming back and forth? There were back in force. Sorry, can't speak this morning. There were a lot of new authors this year. Will there be next year too?
I think there will always be new authors because we're always, we are just in, as with the book world, as with everywhere else, I think both the industry and the readers are in love with the shiny and the new. And, you get a new author, you get a new, a new opportunity and a new voice. I think the industry has been through very, very hard times, but then publishers always say that. It has been incredibly hard since the crash in 2008, but you talk to Waterstones now and they say that physical book sales are growing again, and ebook sales have perhaps reached a plateau. I think people will always want to read, and I think people will always want new voices. It's just the publishing industry's job to find the best way of answering that need in everyone.
And so far, at least, unlike film and music, piracy isn't the massive issue that it could be. You're all very nice people and tend to pay for your books, and even if you don't pay for all of them, you pay for some of them. Certainly there are people out there who I'm sure are torrenting everything, but it's not like music where the expectation is you can just go online and find it for free. I think we'd be quite lucky with that.
I think it might be because the music like 3 minutes, a 3-minute hit, and until you've listened to it, you don't know what it is. And so you listen to it, you might listen to it. A lot of people I know they steal their music and then they pay for it later.
Yeah.
If they like it.
If they like it,
Yeah.
Whereas I think with books people tend to buy up front because they have a better idea of whether they're going to like it or not.
Yeah.
I'd like to point out that the reason why they get new authors is because they're cheaper, pliable, and slightly desperate. Therefore, they like to have a good turnover of new authors because the old authors tend to be kind of slower and disappointing. Just saying that.
That was a cry for help from Ben.
Yeah.
Are you all right?
Yeah, where are you on that spectrum?
I'm above all of this. I live in Zen land.
Wow. I don't have any more questions, so
It's 5 bucks.
it's
Yeah.
5 past. Yeah.
We're going to get on the bus.
We do need to go and get on the bus.
We are now going to Manchester. If you live in Manchester, come see
The
us.
bus leaves in 45 minutes and we've still got a lot of stuff to do before
Yes.
we go.
I don't. I'm going to go find a bacon sandwich.
Thank you, everyone who has tuned in. Hopefully, the audio recording of this will be good enough, and we're looking to put it up on SoundCloud very shortly if you weren't able to listen today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hopefully not the visual one.